Anzac Day means different things to different people. Michael Millett captured on video his view of a service at Auckland's North Shore. The years may be thinning, the ranks of returning soldiers, but Takapuna managed a strong turnout, spurred on by the beat of the municipal band. After the wreath-laying, local MP George Gear paid tribute to those who had served. Our thanks to Michael Millett for sending us his AmCam video.
Thanks for joining us. A 55-year-old woman is dead after the crash of an historic plane in Auckland. The Tiger Moth plunged into the sea at Takapuna, killing the woman passenger and seriously injuring the male pilot.
The plane hit the sea about 150 metres offshore. The pilot was the first to be hauled from the wreckage. He's a 57-year-old retired airline pilot and has serious leg injuries. The man was immediately flown to hospital. Police have not released his name. Once the Tiger Moth was brought closer to shore, the body of the woman, Dorothy Pearson, was retrieved by rescuers. She had been trapped in the back seat of the plane when it plummeted into the sea. The plane belonged to members of the Tiger Moth Club. Most of the Tiger Moths in New Zealand are nearly 50 years old. The pilots say they're normally safe aircraft to fly. The engine of the plane was found late this afternoon by a team of divers and brought ashore. This evening, the Inspector of Air Accidents examined the wreckage before it was removed from the beach. Bob McNeil, 3 National News.
But there was ample drama in one of the support races. Bernie Brandsma flipping his TQ midget in spectacular fashion. Well, it certainly looked life-threatening, but Brandsma wasn't seriously injured.
Kia ora, good evening. A plane crash landing on Auckland's North Shore triggered a full-scale emergency alert today. The plane had a major engine problem and the pilots faced ditching into the harbour or landing on a crowded beach. But some skillful flying put the plane into nearby mudflats. Both pilots walked out unscathed and it was people power that saved the aircraft from the incoming tide.
The 2 pilots had just diced with death when they crash-landed their plane on Devonport's Ngataranga Bay, stunning nearby residents.
He pulled up the nose, he made about a run of 50 metres and hit obviously the soft spot here. The plane flipped over in slow motion.
Both pilots climbed out unhurt after the engine failed on the Polish Wilga plane. They were relieved they'd made it to the mudflats after fearing a crash landing on a crowded North Shore beach. That soft patch meant the plane was firmly stuck in the mud and the tide was on its way in. The curious onlookers soon became the heroes of the day. The water was beginning to lap the plane. 20 on the end of a rope soon became 30 and 40 and even more.
This is Granny. Go! Come on!
The plane had to be saved from the rising sea. Mum and Dad and the kids and the young and the old all helped. It wasn't easy though, and she just kept getting stuck in those soft patches. But they pulled and they pulled. Over 50 people on the end of the rope. And finally, the gluey mud was outnumbered.
Keep it going! Go, go, go! Keep it going!
And once it was moving, they weren't going to stop until they reached the high tide mark.
Keep it going!
Both pilots were delighted and grateful. The engine avoided the damaging salt water and only the wooden propeller was broken. And a helicopter was used to carry the plane away, but people power had become the hero of the day.
Now here's something for all the petrol heads out there. Cameraman Mike Millett was out at Pukekohe Park Raceway today as classic and historic cars were being put through their paces ahead of tomorrow's Grand Prix. Taking part is a Maybach Special, winner of the first ever New Zealand Grand Prix. The racing gets underway at 10 10 o'clock tomorrow.
And it was a great day in Kumeu, north of Auckland today, for the classic car and hot rod show. Lots of entertainment for the crowds, from flaming motorcyclists, tractors burning rubber, and to cars doing, I'm not really sure quite what. Now, if this looks like your sort of day out, then you can catch all the action again tomorrow at the Kumeu Showgrounds.
Good evening. One of this country's Olympic gold medalists is dead after a practice flight for a weekend air show. Yachty Chris Timms took off from Ardmore Base south of Auckland this morning in a rare vintage jet with a passenger aboard. They carried out aerobatic manoeuvres over the Firth of Thames, but witnesses then saw the jet plunge into the sea.
This was never going to be a search and rescue mission. By the time emergency services arrived, it was to search and recover the bodies of 2 men. This was a race against the tide as they picked the limp remains from the shallows. One witness described seeing the wings at an odd angle before it crashed. The plane was a 1950s vintage Fouga. Its pilot was Chris Timms. He became a national hero at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics when he won gold in yachting's Tornado class with partner Rex Sellers. The plane was a favourite at air shows. The Fouga was owned by 5 members of the New Zealand Warbirds Association. Now, crash investigators must piece together the evidence to find out what caused a plane, supposedly in such mint condition, from crashing on a perfect flying day. Rawdon Christie, One News.